What's up, everybody? What's going on? So this is a recap of what happened today, and again, I think everybody kind of expected this, and I kind of made a point yesterday as to what was going to happen and continue. Any time we see something where we have a um, down down day like the way that we had yesterday, anything that comes after that, whether it's a spike and rally and prices, it's going to come right back down, and that's exactly what happened today. All right, so you just got to, in bear markets, this is what happens. You get violent prices that shoot up again after a big down day, and then if you're not careful, you think that, it's back to square one and back to the longs, but it doesn't work that way. So you got to make sure you know what you're doing when you're actually trading. And so I'm going to go ahead and discuss what happened today and what we're looking at for the next couple of days. And let me just see what's going on here on my screen. All right, so this is the daily chart of the NQ. All right, the Emini micro Nasdaq NQ, and as you can see, put some fib channels on this, and boom, this is what we're looking at in the next few days. If you look at, and if you're following me on the various different platforms, you'll know what's happening in regards to the E-mini falling below our RAM indicator. You can see this has happened yesterday, and today it stayed below. And what we're looking at is a spike up, and then it should fall down again. As long as, if we go ahead and start putting in the Fibonacci's and try and see exactly what's going to happen in the next few days. Look at where we are. 61.8 is right around here. So we're looking at some violent rallies that go back up. It's going to fail and then continue. This might fail over here and then bring back down. This may become a support. We have to watch that, and if it does becomes, well, first of all, this has to break this, and when that happens, it'll go shoot right here, and it's going to fail, boom, right back down. Going to try to make these a support, and that's going to fail, and then try to hit this, make this a support, rally back up, boom, come back down to 61.8. And so that's what we're looking at. The ABCD patterns are going to start forming, and you'll see that this is what's going to ultimately end up happening. All right, so keep an eye on that. Same thing that goes for the Nasdaq, right? This is the micros. If you're trading the micros, keep an eye on this. This is the target areas, and then also this may become a resistance, right? So just keep an eye on that. You can go ahead and start going back to all the different price points and try to go back and match those, but you'll know at the end of the day that this is what's happening, right? So be careful on the longs. Be very, very careful on the longs. Let's take a look at the ES on this, just the regular ES on this chart. You'll see that over here. This was a channel. It broke out of the channel back in December, went up, made a support, came down, boom, now it's breaking the channel and it's on its way back down. And let's see what happens, right? And again, you go back to the lows, sorry. Actually, this is let me do the other one. So here we go at the 38.2, and you see how that becomes a support. It's gonna hang around this area, shoot up. It's gonna try to shoot up, and look at this channel that we have here. At the same time, we have some resistance, so it may come back up, and then boom. Okay, and then you also have another point right here, a resistance point. So that could become another resistance point that it's going to have to break. And if it doesn't break, you're looking at more downward pressure, and we're looking at this down on the bottom channel right there. And the next point is the 50% retracement. And if that breaks, you're looking at going further down to 29.82. So keep an eye on all of these and make sure you watch your longs. Be very, very careful on what you see on the longs, all right? Don't just blindly jump in. One of the other things I want to show you is the 5-minute chart on the E-mini. And we had some nice setups. This one was a long setup in the morning. As you can see what happened, we saw price skyrocketing. Again, it was the same thing. Remember I mentioned these violent rallies, or you got to be careful in a bear market. And this is probably beginning to become a bear market because our RAM indicator on the daily chart is below our RAM indicator, right? The price action is below the RAM indicator. So you got to be careful. There's going to be some momentum towards the downward pressure, right? And you can see that in the ripple and wave. If you're following my course, look at what's happening here. We've actually crossed. The 50 is going to cross to 200 way back. You see that? It crossed over here and boom, just continues to go downwards and downwards. This is the 15 range, but look at the other range. The smaller, the longer period range, right? Look at this one. Remember the tide, wave, and ripple? If you're following that, you would have seen this several days ago, right? I've only loaded data for several days that I should have loaded. Okay, 6 days. If I loaded for, let's just say 15 days, you will see that this actually crossed some time back, and you have to be careful when that happens. When it crosses below the 200, you got to be careful of going longs. Okay. Look at this. This happened about 4 days ago. It used to be up, 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 and then crossed below, and then it actually did on this particular date right here. Okay. And then ever since then, it's just been downward pressure, downward pressure. So any longs you were taking, you had to be wary of them. All right, so you got to be careful with what's going on in the markets. Okay, don't just go out and start shopping stocks. Make sure you're looking at overall long-term trend of the whole entire market before you start getting into longs. And if you do try to scalp, make sure you're scalping and looking at all different time frames before you actually go ahead and dive into something long-term, and then you don't want to be stopped out and have massive losses, especially with these violent swings. All right, trade them well, guys. If you have any questions, reach out to me on Discord. That would be the first place: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.